Silence is not just the absence of words, it is the presence of awareness. When you stop speaking, even for a moment, you shift the balance of power in any interaction. Most people do not realize how predictable they become when they talk. They reveal too much too fast and without thinking. They fill the air with explanations, excuses, emotions, and opinions. They hand over their entire strategy without anyone asking. Silence prevents you from making this mistake, but even more importantly, it forces the other person to expose theirs. When you use silence deliberately, the world around you slows down. You begin to notice the subtle reactions in people, the flicker in their eyes, the hesitation in their tone, the nervous tapping of their fingers. These small details, which are drowned out by noise, suddenly become loud. Silence sharpens your senses. It becomes a magnifying glass for truth. People cannot stay still when confronted with silence. They feel an urge to speak, to explain, to clarify. They start revealing information they never intended to share, simply because your silence creates an uncomfortable vacuum they feel compelled to fill. The reason silence works so effectively is psychological. Humans fear the unknown more than anything else. When you speak, you reveal your thoughts, your reasoning, your fears, and your intentions. When you stay silent, they are left alone with their own thoughts. They begin to imagine what you might be thinking, and in that imagination, they often project their insecurities, their guilt, or their hidden motives. People confess more to a silent person than to an aggressive interrogator. Silence does not pressure them, it gives them space, and that space becomes a trap of their own making. Silence also exposes lies effortlessly. When someone lies, they expect to be challenged. They expect arguments, accusations, or disbelief. But when you respond with silence, you give them nothing. They become unsure whether you believe them or not. Their mind races. They start to add unnecessary details, trying to convince you. They adjust their story. They over-explain. Each additional word increases the chance of contradiction. Silence becomes the blade that cuts through deception without you ever having to raise your voice. Another reason silence exposes truth is that people are naturally uncomfortable with uncertainty. When they don't know where you stand, they become more transparent in their attempts to read you. They watch your body language closely. Their sensitivity increases. They ask questions. They reveal more than they should. Your silence turns them into someone who desperately tries to understand you, while revealing their own internal state in the process. This strategy works in conflicts, negotiations, relationships, leadership, and even in everyday conversations. In a heated argument, the person who remains silent becomes the one in control. The other person, expecting resistance, becomes off-balanced when none arrives. Their emotions escalate while yours stay grounded. They reveal the depth of their anger, their insecurities, and their frustrations, while you remain untouchable. Eventually, they run out of fuel, and the truth of the situation becomes impossible for them to hide. In negotiations, silence is often the strongest move you can make. When someone presents an offer or a demand, and you respond with silence, you create pressure on them. They start doubting whether their offer was fair. They rethink their position. They begin lowering their demands or improving their proposal just to fill the silence. Your silence becomes leverage, making them reveal their real bottom line. In relationships, silence reveals intentions faster than questions ever will. If you distance yourself for a moment and say nothing, you will quickly see who respects you, who values you, who panics, and who doesn't care. Silence becomes a test, one that exposes sincerity without you needing to ask for explanations. People's actions in your silence tell you more than their words ever could. Even in leadership, silence communicates more authority than 1,000 speeches. A leader who speaks constantly is seen as insecure or desperate for control, but a leader who chooses silence carefully is viewed as stable, observant, and calculating. Their silence forces others to step forward, to reveal their strengths, weaknesses, and loyalty. Silence exposes who is dependable and who only acts under constant instruction. In silence, true character emerges. The truth is that silence is one of the oldest and most reliable methods of extracting truth from human beings. When you do not speak, you deny others the chance to shape your thoughts. Instead, they reveal their own. They expose their real priorities, their hidden motives, and their suppressed emotions. They show you who they are when no one is guiding the conversation. Silence pulls the truth out of people effortlessly because it leaves them alone with themselves, and most people cannot stand that. Silence is not emptiness. It is strategy. It is positioning. It is the art of becoming unreadable in a world obsessed with noise and easy interpretation. Most people speak because they want to be understood, validated, or accepted. They try to control how they are seen by explaining themselves, expressing emotions, and sharing opinions. But the moment you speak, you give people something to grasp. You give them clues, hints, patterns, and weaknesses. You become predictable. And predictable people are easy to control, easy to manipulate, and easy to defeat. Silence removes that advantage from everyone around you. When you choose silence, you remove the map others rely on to navigate you. They cannot calculate your next step because you haven't given them a pattern to analyze. This unpredictability alone places you in a position of power. People fear what they cannot define. They fear what they cannot anticipate. When they cannot read your intentions, they become cautious, defensive, and overly respectful. They give you more space than you ask for. Silence creates an aura around you, an energy that suggests depth, strength, and calculation, even when you are simply observing. Unpredictability is a currency of influence. When people never know how you might respond, they treat you more carefully. They choose their words with more precision. They avoid crossing lines they would cross with others. Silence creates the illusion that you are thinking far beyond what they can understand. They start imagining your thoughts, and in that imagination, they often create a version of you far stronger and wiser than reality. They respect the version of you they construct because they do not have access to the real one. Silence also protects your intentions. When you speak too soon or too openly, you reveal your direction. You reveal your desires, your goals, and your strategy. The moment someone sees your path, they gain the power to block it. But when you stay silent, you move like a shadow. You become someone who can shift directions without warning. People cannot stop what they cannot see coming. Silence makes your moves invisible until they are already complete. It makes your decisions appear sudden, even if you planned them for months. This unpredictability becomes a shield. It protects you not only from enemies or competitors, but from the subtle manipulations of everyday people. Someone trying to provoke you cannot succeed if you remain silent. Someone trying to test you becomes frustrated when they receive no reaction. Someone trying to read your emotional state finds nothing but a closed door. Silence denies them access. It denies them influence over you. It denies them any foothold in your mind. Silence also changes the atmosphere in conversations. When you speak less, people lean in more. They watch you. They wait for your reactions. They become more attuned to your presence because your silence forces them to do the observing for both of you. This dynamic subtly shifts the balance of power. While others exert energy trying to understand you, you preserve your own energy by saying little. They work harder. You remain steady. They try to decipher. You simply watch. Your silence becomes a test that reveals who is nervous, who is confident, who is insecure, and who is desperate. It brings out reactions that would have remained hidden if you had filled the room with words. Silence also elevates your value. Words are cheap because they are used too often. Silence, on the other hand, is rare. When you speak less, people begin to believe that your words must be important. They begin to value your speech not because of what you said in the past, but because you don't give your words freely. They wait for your opinion, your approval, or your judgment. And when you finally speak, even a simple sentence carries weight. People listen not out of obligation, but out of genuine curiosity. Silence makes your voice precious. Another dimension of power that silence grants is the ability to read the room. While others are busy talking, you are absorbing. You see the alliances forming, the tensions rising, the insecurities showing. You see how people react to each other, how they react to authority, and how they react to pressure. This information is priceless. It allows you to move with precision rather than emotion. You understand the landscape before you choose your step. Silence becomes the reconnaissance that ensures your decisions are intelligent rather than impulsive. Silence also makes you emotionally untouchable. People who speak too much often leak emotional information. Frustration, weakness, fear, insecurity. They give away more than they intend. But when you stay silent, people cannot measure you. They don't know if you're angry, calm, confident, or calculating. They don't know whether you agree or disagree, whether you are affected or unmoved. This emotional opacity makes you stronger. It makes people hesitate before challenging you. It makes them second-guess their assumptions. The unpredictability that comes from silence is not accidental. It is cultivated. By listening more and revealing less, you create a presence that is both calm and intimidating. Silence is not the lack of power. Silence is the mastery of it. Silence is the shield that protects your inner world from being exposed. invaded, or manipulated. In a society where everyone reacts instantly and emotionally to every comment, every insult, every minor inconvenience, silence becomes a rare and powerful discipline. Emotional control is not achieved by force or loud declarations. It is achieved through the restraint to say nothing when your emotions beg you to speak. Silence is the first defense against the chaos of your own feelings and the intentions of those who want to shake them. When you choose silence, you choose clarity. Emotions cloud judgment. Anger distorts perception, fear speeds up the mind, impulse blinds reason, but silence slows everything down. When you do not respond immediately, your mind has room to think, to evaluate, and to separate what is real from what is emotional noise. It is in silence that you regain ownership of your reactions. You are no longer driven by whatever someone said or did. You are no longer controlled by the situation. You regain control over yourself, and that is the foundation of emotional mastery. People lose control because they react too quickly. They allow others to push their buttons and manipulate their state of mind. A simple insult makes them angry. A small criticism wounds them. A moment of disagreement triggers insecurity. But when you remain silent, you take that power away from others. You refuse to give them the satisfaction of seeing your emotions. You refuse to let them dictate how you feel. Silence sends a message even stronger than words, that you are not moved by anything they say. This is where silence becomes dominance. In every conflict, the person who reacts less holds more power. Words can be twisted, misinterpreted, or used against you. But silence cannot be weaponized the same way. When you are silent, people have nothing to grab onto. They cannot argue with silence. They cannot escalate silence. They cannot decode silence. They are left with their own assumptions, and those assumptions often reveal more about them than about you. Silence also helps you conserve emotional energy. Every emotional reaction costs you something: focus, strength, composure. When you respond to everything, you drain yourself. But when you stay silent, you remain centered. You don't waste energy on defending yourself, explaining yourself, or proving yourself. Instead, you observe. You gather information. You let the other person expend their emotional energy while you remain steady. They drown in their own frustration while you stay untouched by it. Another aspect of emotional control is restraint. Most people believe that expressing feelings openly makes them strong or authentic, but unfiltered emotional expression often becomes self-sabotage. When you reveal every insecurity, every frustration, every fear, you give others the blueprint to manipulate you. They learn your weaknesses. They learn what provokes you. But silence hides these things. Silence protects your vulnerabilities. It makes you emotionally unpredictable. No one can hurt you with what they do not know about you. Silence also disrupts emotional attacks. When someone tries to provoke you, whether through insults, intimidation, or manipulation, they expect a reaction. Their power lies in your response. But when you give them nothing, their attack collapses. They cannot continue a conflict when you refuse to engage. They cannot win a battle you do not enter. Silence becomes the quiet refusal that disarms them completely. The more emotionally aggressive they become, the calmer you appear. This contrast alone establishes your dominance in the situation without you raising your voice. One of the hidden strengths of silence is its ability to regulate your internal emotions. When something angers you, silence gives you space to breathe, to think, and to regain control before acting. When something confuses you, silence gives you time to understand what is actually happening instead of reacting out of impulse. When something stresses you, silence becomes your moment of grounding. You learn to respond from a place of stability rather than emotion. Silence also reveals who truly has emotional discipline. Most people speak because they cannot handle emotional pressure. They explode because the silence is too heavy for them to carry. They reveal their feelings because they cannot bear the tension of holding them inside. But when you remain silent in those moments, you demonstrate emotional strength that few people possess. You show that you are not controlled by circumstances. You show that you are able to stand in discomfort without collapsing. This kind of restraint intimidates people because it shows a level of discipline they cannot match. Emotional control through silence also improves your decision-making. When you are not reacting emotionally, you become capable of seeing the bigger picture. You can analyze motives, anticipate consequences, and choose the most strategic response. Silence creates a pause between stimulus and action, and in that pause, you gain power. The pause becomes your advantage. It becomes the moment in which you decide whether the situation deserves your energy or not. Most conflicts dissolve naturally when you stop feeding them with emotional reactions. Silence gives you distance. It allows you to step outside your own emotions and observe them from a higher perspective. You begin to understand what triggers you, why it triggers you, and how to avoid falling into emotional traps. You gain awareness of your own patterns, and awareness is the first step toward emotional mastery. Instead of reacting on autopilot, you make conscious choices. Instead of exploding, you remain in control. Silence is the discipline that transforms your emotions from something that controls you to something you control. Silence is not the absence of power, it is the refinement of it. It is the discipline that separates those who are controlled by the world from those who control themselves. When you choose silence, you free yourself from the trap of reacting to every provocation, every emotion, every expectation. You create space between yourself and the chaos around you. You gain the clarity to see people for who they truly are. You become unpredictable, unreadable, and untouchable. Silence sharpens your perception, protects your intentions, and strengthens your presence. It turns your mind into your strongest weapon and your demeanor into your greatest advantage. The loud try to dominate with noise, but the quiet dominate with control. And once you understand the silent power you carry, you no longer chase respect. Your presence commands it.